Hold on, waiting. Hey,
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in today.
No problem.
How is it in Chennai?
It's the same. It's like a holiday inside the house. Bit
Are you
terrifying because you don't know what's going to happen, but
are you
consider
uh,
what I'm.
are you isolating with your family?
Yeah.
Very good, very good. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. You're a very busy man. I wanted to first give a little introduction just so everybody knows who I'm talking to. You know, you are. I mean, you are me. I'm here with Billy as well.
Hey, Billy.
How you doing? And
Thanks for coming on today. Yeah,
uh,
no problem.
you're obviously Billy and I's favorite composer of all time, and I want to give you a proper introduction so that everyone knows. You are the most successful composer, one of the most successful composers and visionaries of our time. Obviously, you're well known for scoring films like Slumdog Millionaire, where you won two Oscars, two Grammys, a BAFTA, a Golden Globe. You've scored over 150 films. You've sold over 100 million albums, and you became the first composer to successfully fuse Indian and Western music to huge commercial and critical success. Please welcome the legend A.R. Rahman.
Thank you so much. I want to thank your father for introducing me to the London Western audiences. And yeah, I fondly remember him calling me 20 years back now. 20 years have gone by. And I picked up the phone and Shekhar Kapoor said, "Hey, somebody wants to talk to you." And then Andrew came to the phone. Beautiful. Still remember when you were little kids.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it still so well, and Dad showed us your music, and we were just totally blown away. And obviously, Bombay Dreams then happened, and you worked with Don Black, who's my
Yes.
godfather. Um, so the whole thing was just such a dream. And but I want to talk firstly about because we have so many young songwriters and producers that tune into this every week, and so I want to take it back to the beginning of your career when you were working on commercials. How did you start working with commercials? Did it matter who you met at the time? Did it matter what school you went to? How did you get into it?
So, you know my story that my father passed away when I was very young, and I had all this big toys, synthesizers, and combo organs at my disposal, very expensive toys. And so we were renting it out. I was a roadie, I was setting up stuff. When I was 11 or 12, I used to set up a light music orchestra in South. So my mother said, "Why don't you learn more, go deeper into it and learn?" And then she actually kind of focused, put me into the frame of music. And I was playing for all these composers, traditional Malayalam, Kannada, South Indian language composers. And it was a bit boring for me because I was very young. I was 13, 14, 15. And I was working with these people who are 40 and 50 and 60. So
Mm,
I kind of lost my childhood in a way, in a
mm,
good way actually, because I learned to mature because I was with mature people.
mhm.
And so commercials was actually the kind of redemption for me when I came into the commercial world, when I met all these young people and they were thinking international and how I could compose in English or Tamil or Hindi. It actually expanded my brain.
Mm.
And also the sense of perfection you get on this 20 seconds, 30 seconds helped me become this producer I am now because you kind of take a lens and you see everything in a very close perspective, micro perspective.
Yeah,
And
because
so when,
you're so melodic in your work, and you have such an incredible hooks. I suppose working on commercials in the early start of your career probably influenced you going forward in that a hook is actually a very valuable thing.
yeah, but also we had to realize that, that's a good formula to do a hook, but if you just keep putting hooks, it gets irritating.
Mm.
So when you do an album, you need to have things which have hooks, and you need to explore, look at it in a more macro perspective too, like wholesomeness of the album, or even a film album. So we have songs which have hooks, and some of them are melodic, and it grows on you maybe after 3 months or 4 months because of the intricate and the depth of cultural stuff which is within ragas and harmony and melodic changes and stuff. Yeah.
Completely, because one of the things that I absolutely love about your music is your spontaneity, and you can never guess what's coming next. There's no structures in your music, you know, compared to what we consider pop music or classical music or whatever, where there are quite clear structures. Your music gives us surprises along the way.
Yeah, I get bored with stuff which I've heard before. You know, things which I think are being repetitive as formulaic stuff. And sometimes, you know, it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it goes and it's as an accident. But because we have time and we have enough people around to, you know, vet things out, mostly it's lived with. If something doesn't work, even it gets eradicated, you know, in the constituent stage.
And when you started your film composing, how did you get into that?
So film composing came in when I built a studio, the small studio where I'm sitting outside of that. And this actually gave me a sense of freedom. I was doing music which I didn't have to play to people for them to judge. I was judging myself, I was feeling good. And then when I met, one of the commercials became a big hit. And apparently that producer, Sharda Thirlok, she was a cousin sister to one of the most legendary directors, who was the Spielberg of India, I would say, Mani Ratnam. And he met me, and I was such a big fan that I told him that, why don't you come to my studio, I want to play you something. And he said, I will come. And then 6 months later, he comes to my place. Very surreal, but how I met your father. Yeah. Very similar kind of experience. My first surreal experience. And he heard some of my tunes and he said, I'm doing a movie, I want you to score it. And after he took all the tunes and he said, so that's how it happened. And we have been working for almost, 27 years together now.
Amazing. Amazing. And your first film was in 1992, was it?
Yeah, 1992.
And one of the things which is so amazing is that at the time, it seemed that there was a lot of instruments and a lot of Bollywood music at that time was very busy, and your music was very sparse, very melodic. Let the vocal kind of sit above everything else. Was that something intentional from you, or how did that happen?
So the interesting thing about audio in India was almost every film music album was made for the optical track, right? So the optical track couldn't take more than 7K, so they would roll off everything. So the music used to sound very muddy and very mid-range. So the voice would crop out and all those things would be distorted. So when I built my studio, I had a 16-track Fostex recorder, and I was telling people, like, you know what? The film mix could be a different one, and the audio mix could be a different one, because I have time. I'm just doing one movie. So usually a movie gets finished in 5 days, 2 days for songs, and then 3 days for the score, because we have the whole orchestra.
Wow.
Yeah, that used to be. Because I said, no, I don't want to do that. You know, there are albums being made in the West where people take 3 years, 4 years, 5 years because they want quality. So I want to do that with film music. And that sensibility actually made me do a lot of things which are freaky, because I would do a song intentionally for 2 months just to see what could change in it, and then I would go rearrange it or go back to, I would have 10 different arrangements, and I would go back to the first one or use the last one. So this sense of freedom came when there was no pressure of people watching you, what you're doing. So there's no judging. There was a sense. Now, of course, everybody can record. Like Billie Eilish did it in her bedroom, and that freedom was there almost when I started, which was great. That's what made that's what makes people come up with the best.
But you've always used technology, you know, to your advantage, and made it part of your armory.
Thanks to my father. I told you, my father left all the synthesizers. He had bought the first synthesizer, the chord synthesizer, in 1974. He passed away in 1976. So 74, he had the first synthesizer, and when he passed away, I had that toy. So my foundation was set in synthesis and sounds and musicality. Yeah.
I mean, you can hear that all through your music, which what makes it so incredible.
But I love acoustic stuff, because the way we can record things now are incredible. The mics and the preamps and the different techniques which is coming are making acoustic sound so beautiful now. And now with ambisonic, you can. There's so much Yeah.
One of your well, certainly one of my favorite songs of all time, and one of your biggest hits is Cheya Cheya,
Yes.
which you released in 1998. But I want to talk a little bit about Cheya Cheya because it is extraordinary. It's an extraordinary record. If there's anyone listening here who hasn't heard that record, right after this, put it on, turn it up, and you'll have the best 7 minutes of your life. So how did that record come to be?
So let me tell you, I was working with an artist called Sukwinder Singh, who's one of the leading singers here. I actually called him, I asked one of my friends called Brij Bhushan, who's a radio commentator, that I need a Punjabi lyricist. So he sent Sukwinder Singh as a lyricist. And then I worked on a movie called Takshak. So when I met him, he was so musical. He was like a poet. And he's such a great artist. And I said, I'm doing an album called Vande Mataram, Matuje Salam, and I want to use some Sufi poetry in it because the B side would be that kind of stuff. So we were jamming on in one of the old poets called Bulle Shah, Sufi poet called Bulle Shah, and his poem. And so we were jamming, and then I was playing the moog kind of a bass, and all that stuff happened. And I left it alone because I felt that this song doesn't match the album, and we have enough songs. And a year later, my friend Mani Ratnam, he comes in and said, I need a song. I said, I have a song. You want to listen to it? And so it was called Thaya Thaya first. And so he said, I like the song. I want to picture it on the train. And he was doing Dil Se, the movie. And so that was taken by Mr. Gulzar, who wrote Jai Ho again. He changed Thaya Thaya to Chaya Chaya. And it just boom. The song was...
There's so many moments in that record where things completely change, and you bring in strings and you bring in the electronic drums and all the different vocals and instrumentations. How was this a track that happened, over a long period of time, or was it something that you did quite quickly?
So no, actually, it was even much more longer. So what we do is when I, at least most of the times when you have a singer like Sukwinder or classical singers or folk singers, they don't stick to a tune, so they just improvise. So I have a mic and I keep like, can you sing? And I keep going on with that, improvising. So the song was really very, very long. It was like 13, 14 minutes, I think, the original. Yeah. So I had to cut it down, and when I cut it down, it strangely had a hook, but it didn't lend itself to a same tune. So it went. It took its own turn according to the lyrics. And so when it says my kalma, that means like a statement of faith, which goes on, and becomes a trance. So I had to leave the trance, mere kalma, mere nagama, mere kalma. So that my song and my faith,
Yeah.
So I had to leave it that. I had to make people feel that this is what he's feeling, and so you should feel the same thing. So there was nobody telling me that, oh no, the song should be 3-minute cut, otherwise the radios won't play. So fortunately, at least at the beginning of my career, nobody told me what to do. They just took whatever I did. And even now, I think I have that sense of freedom, and I'm just blessed.
That's so fascinating. So what comes first for you naturally? Do you write music on the piano, or do you have a beat? Do you have a lyric? Do you have a story? How does it work?
So anything actually. Sometimes the iPhone. I get an idea, so I just sing, because by the time you go to the studio, I forget what it is. If it's a lyric idea or a concept idea, I just put that in, and then from then either grew, playing the piano, or fleshing it. Again, most of the songs are very long, because sometimes you start, you only get what you heard before or what you are comfortable with, and then it takes you to a zone where you're sick of all the cliches and you go on to something which may be too weird, or maybe taking everybody to the same zone. So would you travel?
So would you say that a lot of your records you've actually written longer and then edited it down afterwards?
Yeah, there's another song from a movie called Rockstar called Kun Faya Kun, which is a Sufi song, which is what the statement is saying, that be and it is. So Kun Faya Kun. how God created the world. So the director came with the concept and said, I want to do a song like that. I was really jittery. I said, what are you talking about? This is the most powerful, verse in the holy book. But he said, no, I believe in it and I feel like this is right for my movie. So I said, yeah. Then that song was almost like 20 minutes of just singing and singing and singing. And so that, again, had to be cut because the director was shooting the time. So I had to literally do the track with the lyricist and the singer by singer. Yeah.
So if for songwriters and producers watching this right now, I think it's quite interesting because a lot of people go to writing sessions in the pop world and they go, right, we must have a verse, a chorus, a verse, a chorus,
So
a mid-late
that's
chorus,
good. That's good too. But then when a lot of other people are doing traditional stuff, it's good to be a rebel. And if everybody are rebels, then it becomes chaos. So when conservative things are happening, it's always people look at what is different, and I've been lucky for that, like all my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you have so many influences across your music, from classical to rock to hip hop to pop. Is it something you've been listening to all your life? Do you listen to all types of music on your day-to-day life?
Yes, because I was playing film music. I told you from age of 11 to 25 or something. And for me, this was an escape. I used to work in Bangalore and I used to go to the shop where the records, the vinyl records, and we will pay money for them to record, each track from different things and compile them into a metal cassette. So from Bangalore to Chennai was a train, so I would listen to that stuff coming. And it used to be a great experience. And my vision was, when I started, I felt like I listen to all these things. Why don't people listen to our stuff? Why don't people listen to Indian music? The only thing which is known outside is Ravi Shankar, Zakir, the Shakti, El Shankar, El Subramaniam. But I felt like, why don't we do this? Why don't we change the production so that there's a commonality in where the sound is great and there's things which are familiar, but it's different. So it was intentional, and maybe I started feeling it without. It was not a formulaic thing. The mind was a natural evolvement in my musicality, I would say. So when I play a bass, it'll be a funk bass or something which comes naturally, not like, oh, what is a funk bass? Let me go to Google and find. So that it's the vibe which within me, because I've been listening to that music and also met all these great musicians. So.
And when you got the call from Danny Boyle, the Slumdog Millionaire director, saying, we want you to write the music for the film, was it an immediate yes?
No, it was a strange thing because I was so busy that year. I was doing multiple things and exhausted. I was exhausted, and I would want to write, reply to Danny. It came in and said, I would love to meet you, but then we never met. And one day I was in Mumbai for something else, and then he texted me and said, I said, I'm in Mumbai, where are you? He said, I'm in Mumbai. And this hotel, I said. He said, I'm in the same hotel. Let's meet in the lounge. So he comes to the lounge and he gives me this DVD of the movie. He says, here it is. If you like it, score it. I took it and I didn't have time to watch it again. After a week I watched, I was blown away. And he was such a nice person. So he had such a great human being, very humble and amazing guy, but super intelligent. So definitely it was a yes. And I said, I want to score the whole music because he had music from so many different things. And he said, if you have the time, go ahead.
So was there no music in the film at all when you saw it?
No, there was temp music. So the way Danny uses music is always, he just puts it in the front, like it's in your face, and that's a great thing. He doesn't use music, not like a wallpaper ever, I think. And so when music comes, it plays its part, like in your face. And so that actually made the impact of Slumdog Millionaire. Because I think I worked so hard on so many different other movies, but it gets drowned. It's stepmotherly treatment, I would say.
Interestingly, in the Bollywood films you've done,
Yeah.
there are roughly 150 music cues per film, but in
More than
Slumdog
that.
Millionaire, or more than that,
18 or 19, that's it.
but in Slumdog there were only 18.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. And so when I did it, I said, nobody's going to notice this. And suddenly I get a call from after the Toronto Festival screenings. It's like, what did you do? I said, what? People are just going crazy over that song you've done, and then they're going crazy over the score. It's just a very small score. I just took 3 weeks to do that. But, people are loving it. So I didn't know the way he was mixing it. And so it's all learning. I think you learn from, you never stop learning in this thing. Whenever you approach something, you have to be empty. You have to be that, I don't know how to do this. Because things are changing, things are evolving, and the people have consumed something so much that they don't want the same thing. They want a different approach. It should be the mix, or it should be the progression, or it should be the sound, or the way it's implemented on the movie.
Where did you write the score, and how did you record it?
Wow, so that's a great question. So the score was done mostly in the studio, the initial ideas, and then I was Skyping MIA. She was recording it in New York. I was in London mixing the score when I had got another idea for a song. So Alka Yagnik was doing it in Mumbai, and then Chennai team was trying to chop the rhythms and all the stuff for me. So there's Chennai, Mumbai, New York, London, all on internet, like how we are locked up now.
Yeah.
Very similar. I was just locked up because there's 3 weeks of intense post-production happening, and that's how we scored it.
And in particular, I want to talk about 2 songs in the film. One being Latika's theme, which I think is one of the most beautiful melodies I've ever heard. Was that something you wrote on the piano, or something you saw to picture and did it at the same time? How did you write that?
So Latika's theme had I think it had a temp, and I'd done with a song with lyrics, and he liked the song. He said the lyrics are actually confusing me. He's saying something, so I'm getting distracted by the action of the actors. So I had to make it lyricless. So that's why it became and so now it gave the feel, and it was not interrupting with what he wanted to feel with the actor. So that was the guidance from Danny again. And we had this amazing Suzanne from Mumbai who sang this. What a beautiful voice.
It's so beautiful. And actually,
I have even 2 minutes, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Well, we have one more song to talk about, which is Jai Ho.
Yes.
Jai Ho, talk us through the process.
So Jai Ho was when I was doing another movie. The director Subhash Ghai was saying, there's this beautiful phrase called Jai Ho, and simultaneously I was scoring this movie. And when I was watching the movie, I was thinking, this happens to be a triumphant ending. And they had a temp on that, of course. They had a temp of Shankar Sarloy's Dil Chahta Hai song, I think. And I said, you can't have a song in a movie like this, an original movie, a used song. You should need to do something new. And so all the stuff happened again. In this 4 weeks, recording all the stuff. And then Gulzar Saab wrote this, expanded. And so I think I heard about Blade Runner, like how all the post-production of Blade Runner actually was for something else, and then how it all came together, because I think it's sometimes I would say it's divine intervention. It's made for something, but so Jai Ho happened like that, and I played with Danny. I tried to fit the tempo. It had lip sync, so Danny had to recut and take the lip sync off for the other song. So he made it work brilliantly.
And then it became a huge hit with Nicole Scherzinger as well, and the Pussycat Dolls.
So that was Jimmy Iovan's idea. I said, I love this song. And then everybody, even my agent Sam Schwartz, said, like, what? You want to make this into a Pussycat song? I said, why not? Because it'll have a longer life, and it'll have a more wide range of appeal, I would say. So
that's testament to you always pushing boundaries, always doing something new, always being a visionary.
I had to guide them, because initially the lyrics were like, I am sexy, 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 you do know, something like that. I said, no, sexy and all. This is about, so that happened.
And AR, so on Jai Ho, Nicole Scherzinger and my dad, actually, they both want you to challenge them to do Jai Ho.
When?
I think probably as soon as possible. I spoke to Dad before this. Nicole's been texting me saying she wants to do it.
Well, let's do it.
If you say now, I challenge Nicole Scherzinger and I challenge Angela Weber to do J Ho, then you might get something.
That'd be amazing. That'll be amazing. Yes. Thank you. I got to go.
Fantastic.
Nice talking to you. Imagine, enjoy the artist from Nexa. There's some incredible talent I wanted to present. And so enjoy that.
AR, thank you so much. You're an absolute legend. Ladies and gentlemen, on the other songs, AR, Rahman. Thank you so much, sir. Enjoy your day.
Thank you. Bye.
So we are live on the Other Songs Digital Festival. That was